Eliza noticed she was pregnant after her beloved husband departed. The sun had barely risen over the small town of Aremu when the wind carried with it the soft hum of a woman's voice. Neighbors often said it was the same song she used to sing with her husband, the one about love that never dies. Her name was Eliza, and once she was the brightest soul in the town, graceful, soft-spoken, and loved by everyone. Eliza met Daniel, a humble carpenter with laughter that could fill a room, when she was 30 years old. Their love blossomed like rain-fed flowers. Together they built a life, a modest home painted white with blue shutters, where laughter echoed through the walls, and the smell of fresh bread filled the air every morning. For 7 beautiful years, they lived in harmony, two souls tied by gentle devotion. But fate, cruel and unforgiving, had other plans. One rainy evening, Daniel came home shivering, his skin pale and his breath shallow. What started as a fever grew worse each day. Eliza stayed by his side day and night, whispering prayers and wiping his sweat, refusing to sleep, refusing to believe that love could lose to death. But death, silent and merciless, came anyway. The morning he passed, Eliza's scream echoed across the town. It was a sound that even the birds refused to answer. After the funeral, she was never the same. She stopped eating, stopped laughing, stopped speaking to anyone. People said she spent nights sitting by the window, talking to the empty chair where Daniel once sat. Others claimed they saw her walking to the cemetery every dawn, barefoot, whispering to the wind. Some said grief had taken her mind, but Eliza believed differently because she saw him. She saw Daniel in the garden, by the door, beside her bed. His smile, his touch, his scent, all still there. Sometimes she'd wake up to the feeling of his arms around her, warm and real. "Don't leave me again," she'd whisper. And a voice, deep and familiar, would answer, "I never did." Soon, her friends stopped visiting. The neighbors began to avoid her eyes. Children whispered when she passed by, muttering, "That's the mad woman who talks to ghosts." But Eliza didn't care. The world could call her mad. She still had her Daniel. Days turned to weeks, weeks into months. Her body weakened, her mind drifted further into that blurred space between memory and madness. Then, one morning, when she fainted at the edge of the graveyard, the midwife who found her screamed, not from fear, but from shock. Eliza was pregnant. The news spread through the town like wildfire. Whispers filled every corner of Aremu. How could it be? They asked. Her husband has been gone for months, and they never had a child while he lived. Some said she must have lost herself completely, that madness had led her into another man's arms. Others swore it was something darker, a sign that the dead still walked among the living. When asked who the father was, Eliza only smiled faintly and said, "Daniel never left me. He still comes to me every night." Her words sent chills through every heart that heard them. For how could a woman bear the child of a man buried beneath the earth? Yet, as her belly began to grow, so did her certainty that love, even in death, had found a way to live again. Each morning, she would stand by the doorway, smiling faintly as if greeting someone unseen. Villagers passing by would lower their eyes, whispering to one another, but never daring to speak to her. At night, her neighbors said they heard 2 voices in her home, one soft and one deep. The sound of laughter sometimes drifted through the air, carried by the wind like a memory refusing to fade. Some nights, villagers claimed they saw the glow of 2 shadows moving together behind her window. Others swore they saw her walking through the fields with someone who wasn't there. Children would peek from behind trees, giggling until fear made them run. The elders shook their heads and muttered that love had bewitched her soul. But Eliza didn't hear them, or perhaps she simply chose not to listen.